you guys going? That's great. I love how I can hear some people over here. Hey, my name's Rachel, and I'm going to share a little bit about my story with you guys. I'm just going to get comfortable, though, because I just want to chill out on the stage. So let me just open up my testimony, and I'll be with you in a sec. Man, I'm shaking. But hey, man, today's been so good. Where am I? Right. Sabbath. Me. All right. So, my name is Rachel, and some of you guys have kind of seen me around. I am a teacher over at Sasner. I get confused with Sasner and Pepsi some days. But I just recently moved to Auckland this year. So, growing up, I was one of those kids who was blessed to be born into a Christian home. I see that as a blessing every single day. By the age of 13, I was helping out with creche, I was helping out with kids' church. I even somehow ended up talking at the age of 15 in front of youth church. So that was pretty cool. But something was wrong here, you see. Growing up, I didn't have my own foundation of faith. My foundation of faith was actually built on what my parents had taught me and their beliefs. So at the age of 18, we were living in Invercargill at that time. It was really cold down there. But God decided to kick me out of home. And when I say kick me out of home, everything that happened was really unusual. And I ended up in the North Island by myself at a camp, and I ended up studying a Christian diploma of ministry. So that is when I started to build that foundation of faith with God. I became tighter with God, and I learned more about His Word, but I still was growing in myself, and that was a bit of a struggle, growing with God, you know. So from there, I still wasn't stable. From there, I ended up going over to Tauranga, and I ended up studying teaching. Woohoo! So that was pretty cool. But during this journey, my relationship with God became stagnant. Why? Because I focused so much on my study. I focused so much on my social life, as you do when you leave home. And I ended up having to work both days of the weekend, which meant that, my relationship with God became stagnant, and I didn't end up at church. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, I was blessed to be born in a Christian home, and I see that as a blessing every single day. But it doesn't mean that I didn't have a solid relationship with God. It doesn't mean that I had a solid relationship with God. Got it. I wrestled so much with doubt, with unbelief, with the fact that I went to Sunday church and now my family was going to Saturday church. I cried out a lot to God. And I love that that is so real that you see that, like in the Psalms, that people are so real and that it's actually in there that people cry out. So one of my driest years, and I hate to admit it, was actually last year. I sat there and God woke me up and was like, hey, look, last year, you were so dry. So during my study years, I not only pushed away my family, but I pushed away God. And so at the end of 2015, when I finished my studies as a teacher, I felt God's pull to come back to Him, to come home. Literally, I ended up at home for the first time in 4 years, except they'd moved to the North Island, which was warmer. So literally and spiritually. I came home a different person is what I'd left, though, at the age of, how old was I last year? Whatever. Anyhow, last year, sorry guys. So last year I came home heartbroken, I came home confused, I came home insecure, and I came home completely lost. So last year, it was definitely a dry year. I purposely played netball so that I wouldn't be dragged with mum to church on a Saturday. I dwelled a lot on my past, and I could not accept change. To be honest, I still laugh at the fact that that was last year. It just makes me cringe. Anyhow, I ended up becoming a workaholic, which is really easy for teachers. And I became really, really introverted. I would not have jumped on the stage last year. I hated life, and I hated where God had put me. And I guess I blamed God for many things in my life. So one day on the way to work, I ended up putting a CD into my CD player in my car. It was a CD that my mum had given to me, and I think it was in the hope that I would run back to God. There was a song, and the lyrics just went like this. It hit me real hard. It goes, I know you struggle, and you're wrestling with unbelief. You feel the fire growing cold. Your broken heart is beating heavy like the air you breathe. You're in this valley all alone. So where do you turn? Where do you go? As I listened to the song for the first time in years, I felt God's presence enter my car, and I totally thought that was a weird place for God's presence to be, but man, it was so cool. I started to cry. I mean, I'm driving, crying, not a good mix. Anyhow, the song kept going. Oh, he knows every pain and every tear that you've cried, every single part of you. And he knows every doubt, every fear that you fight, the battles you've been going through. I think by this time I was bawling my eyes out, and the song just kept going. And when it feels like you're holding the world on your shoulders, just let go and trust him, because he knows. By the time I got to school, my makeup, oh man, I looked like a mess. I probably looked like a panda. It was quite embarrassing, but you know what? It was then that there was something that was missing in my life, and it was God's presence. I'd yearned for that for so many years, and in that ride, that was a ride of change. From here, doors opened. I attended the Women's Seventh-day Adventist conference last year. I was blessed with a new job, and I moved out of home again, woohoo! But these things only happened in my life because I let go, and I just let God. So here I am, a whole year later, still at times fighting with God. I'll admit that. I'll be real. I struggle to listen to God so much. And it took me, to be honest, it took me 6 months to realize that God wanted me here at Papster. Why? Because I retaliated by running away, and I guess I blamed the fact that I was also introverted, which isn't true. I was just too scared to walk through the doors alone. So I pulled the other way, and I made excuses to go to other churches with friends. But yeah, I guess that was just me trying to run in a different direction. But you know what? God said no, and like a magnet, I was repelled, and I ended up back in this direction. I guess I'll learn to listen to him one day, probably. What I failed to mention was that in my last year of high school, when things started to change, that was also the year that I was baptized. I'll admit, for the first time since my baptism, when I was 18, I'm now 24, this is probably the first time in the last 6 months that I've actually been attending church weekly. I'm now serving in the church, and I'm up here singing, I'm helping out with the youth. It is so great. But I feel like this year has been a year of growth. I've learned more about God. I've learned about his scriptures and his meaning behind that. So yeah, I'm pumped. If I look back to last year, I realize that, I was a different person. I was half asleep. And you know what? God's presence has totally awoken me up. And I just have to let go and just trust him, because as the song said, he knows. So yeah, that's my story. My name is Rachel Sayers, and that is my profession of faith. I want this place to be my church home, where I can grow with you guys spiritually, but also learn more about the Bible. So that's a little bit about me. I think. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. I'm just here on behalf of our church, Papster, and on behalf of our senior pastor, who's at home at the moment with very serious man flu. No, I'm sure he's pretty serious, but we just want to say welcome, Rachel, and we've loved getting to know you and meet you. You were welcomed here the day you walked through the door, and we got to meet you. But we just want to stand here this morning as your village, as your spiritual whānau, as your family, and covenant with you that we covenant to walk with you. Now, we're not perfect. Sometimes you're going to be felt let down by us. And I would say, just hang in there, because we will be here, and we covenant to walk with you through your journey. I love your pumpedness, and maybe you're here to help us learn how to be a little more pumped. I think we suffer from pumpeditis, but maybe that's why you're here. This is your gift, and it's awesome to see you serving. So church, I'm just going to pray for Rachel, and can we just do the stretch out hand thing? I notice all our little kids do this automatically. It's so cool. If you're like me, you're just still trying to get past the elbow stretch, that's all right. Just let's put our hands out towards Rachel and just pray for her. Lord, we thank you for Rachel. We thank you that she has found a home here in our faith community. And Lord, we want Rachel to know that we're here for her. We want Rachel to know that although we're not perfect, we're not a perfect community. Sometimes we give up, but our intention is to always be there. And we thank you for Rachel. We thank you for her giftings. We thank you that she has engaged herself in serving here already in our faith community, and that's beautiful. And so, Lord, just bless Rachel in her journey with us for as long as she is with us. And may you continue to endow her with your grace and with your giftings. And may we all be blessed as a result. This is my prayer in your name. Amen.
O sleeper, though your bones are tired and you can't be inspired, what has transpired before you is beyond your reach. I may teach of a God, but you're tired. O sleeper, though your body may ache or your eyes be glued shut, in my gut I know something just maybe needs changing. O sleeper, though your soul cries that you've had enough, I don't mean to diminish, your year has been rough. No, the stuff you were created with wasn't made to be asleep. So I'll keep on asking you, oh sleeper, are you comfortable? Because staying in your comfort zone leaves you prone to being blown in whatever direction the wind may be going. Are you comfortable? Oh sleeper, close your eyes. This world sells you lies. Did I rise for you to just sleep? Oh sleeper, we're not lions made to roar, not just snore. You may have heard all this before, but again I'll implore you, wake up. Oh sleeper, your safety is merely an illusion, the devil's collusion with seclusion and confusion to convince you that the truth is you were made to be asleep. Oh sleeper, dreaming is wonderful till you realize it's pretend, made to send you into complacency, forgetting what you were made to be. Oh sleeper, are you still comfortable? Oh sleeper, I have plans for you. If you knew where I'd travel to rescue you from slumber, but numbers turn to minutes, turn to hours, you're still sleeping. Oh sleeper, to unleash your potential, you can't be influential if your preferential existential belief is to sleep. Oh sleeper, my God is a God of awakenings. Your sleep may have taken his name from your lips, but his hands never slipped. When whipped, he never lost grip over you. Oh sleeper, the power God gives to us freely is really this easy. You can choose to wake up. To awaken to his power, don't let your sleep devour. This hour, the choice is yours. Oh sleeper, wake up.